Good day to everyone and a pleasant day to all my fellow speakers. I'm Dr. Rhodora Andrea Concepcion. I would like to thank the EPCALM, Adult Leukemia Foundation of the Philippines, in cooperation with the Philippine College of Physicians and the Philippine Pediatric Society for the opportunity to be invited as speaker in this webinar. As we continue our discussion in addressing the pandemic woes at every stage across the lifespan, let us focus this time on the school-age child, children 7 to 12 years old. In this lecture, we will try to peek into the minds of these children and maybe try to look into the depths of their thoughts as a generation growing and surviving this pandemic. A pandemic through the eyes of a child. These are the objectives of this webinar, and for my particular topic, we will go through each objective as we proceed with the discussion. While COVID-19 is typically benign in children, the pandemic could have long-lasting impacts on society's youngest members. Childcare programs are either closed or limited, and social distancing measures in place, many children are missing out on opportunities for development. Children are not getting the cognitive and social stimulation that they would normally be getting outside their home. For society's youngest members, the effects of the pandemic go beyond the disease itself. Socializing plays an important role in their development, from learning to share to honing their language skills. But in social distancing measures in place, many children are missing out on opportunities to play. A delay in social skills may not be the only consequence of the pandemic. Many parents undergo financial stress. Children face higher rates of housing and food insecurity, and others are subject to rising rates of neglect and household dysfunction, all of which can affect a child's trajectory into adulthood. And so we ask, how does social isolation affect a child's mental health and development? Creating social relationships is central to human well-being, and engaging in social interaction is vital during childhood development. These school-age children are lacking from those social interactions that they would have normally gotten from people outside their lives. They are lacking that play time with other children. The absence of social relationships and behaviors have been shown to affect the development in various ways. For example, previous research has revealed that socially isolated children tend to have lower subsequent educational attainment, be part of a less advantaged social class in adulthood, more likely to be psychologically distressed in adulthood, and is closely related to loneliness and physiological illness affecting the healthy development of the brain. Aside from social isolation, COVID-19 has caused widespread school closures. Children across the country are being given alternate resources, some online, to study outside of the classroom. Temporary solutions being devised for remote education range from online classroom using virtual platforms like Zoom and Google Classroom. While parents are adjusting to this new scenario, during this time, it's also important to help these children make proper use of screen time by staying focused on learning and avoiding overuse of games, social media, and videos. This is a stressful time for parents and children. Parents can help their children by providing them with a structure and routine and being a positive force in their education. The Children and Screens Institute of Digital Media and Child Development has put together 10 tips for families as they adjust to the new reality of learning at home. Here are the 10 tips for parents in navigating the new realities of online education. Digital quarantine. Consider limiting your children's cell phones and tablets until their schoolwork is done satisfactorily so that it can receive their undivided attention. Apps, games, and messaging messages are fun, but they can also prove to be distracting. It may not be an option for everybody, but ideally, try to give your kids a dedicated device such as a school laptop for maximum online learning. Make space for learning. Children will achieve their best work in a quiet, comfortable space devoted to learning. This should be a different setup when they're where they normally play games or watch television. It's important to keep in mind that children will be in this space for many hours each day, and parents should watch out for any orthopedic issues that may arise related to comfort and posture. Third is monitor the computer monitor. The simplest way to do this is observation. Look at your child's eyes to see if they're following along with the screen. Check if they are taking notes or zoning out. Ask questions at the end of the lesson to confirm that your children are indeed learning. Sometimes easily remedied technological or technical problems such as bad audio, poor connection, or an unhelpful camera angle can make all the difference. Digital recess. Make sure that your children take plenty of breaks in order to get physical activity and time away from screens. Set alarms similar to those they would encounter at school and encourage them to get up. Get some fresh air, go for a walk, or have a snack so that they are not sedentary for the entire day. FaceTime. In-person interaction is ideal for kids. But until it's safe for them to return to school, encourage your children to video chat or text message rather than simply scrolling through social media. You don't want your children to feel socially isolated, but at the same time, you want to protect them from becoming wholly reliant upon their devices. Sit your children down for face-to-face conversations about screen time. Discuss how much time they think is reasonable to spend online, and make a contract committing to goals for on-screen versus off-screen hours. Keep it old school. Overuse of screen time can have adverse impacts on young brains. As much as possible, parents should encourage print and book reading. If available, request textbooks from your child's school along with other print materials to offset the amount of online learning they will be doing. Studies show that remote education can be challenging for all ages, especially young kids. Stimulate self-expression by having discussions with your children about what they are doing, and also encourage creative writing and imaginative storytelling. We're all in this together. Remember that you're not alone in this journey. Check in with other parents to see what you've found effective or to ask if they need help. Share your concerns and useful hints. It is important that we all work together as a community for the good of our children and families. Plan your work and work your plan. Good planning can relieve stress for both children and parents. Check in with your kids about their plans and help them develop a written schedule, not only for the day, but for the week as a whole. Help them prioritize and learn to create goals, tasks, and deadlines, just like adults do when they go to work. Tasks that may not have been difficult for them while attending school in person can become more challenging when learning from home. So it's important to reinforce boundaries and other incentives for healthy behaviors. To avoid disruption, some after-school activities may be offered via online video apps. This ain't no vacation. Even though staying home from school might feel like a holiday, remind your kids that they are not on vacation. Assignments, grades, requirements, and tests are not going away just because classes have moved online. Don't forget to have fun. Plan off-screen activities for the whole family. Between school and work obligations, it's rare for parents and children to have this much time together. So turn it into an opportunity for bonding. Follow your community's guidelines about safe behavior and events, of course, but make sure you still find time for fun with your kids. Without a doubt, this is a challenging time for parents, teachers, and children alike. Studies show that screen time can have both positive and adverse impacts on kids, and the shift to online education will only increase your child's time with their devices. Coronavirus COVID-19 can affect children and young people directly and indirectly. Apart from social isolation and the shift from social face-to-face to digital online homeschooling, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, developed this COVID-19 Parental Resource Kit, ensuring children and young people's social, emotional, and mental well-being to help support parents, caregivers, and other adults serving children and young people in recognizing children and young people's social, emotional, and mental health challenges and helping to secure and helping to ensure their well-being. In the next slides, we will learn about the social, emotional, and mental health challenges faced by each group. On my part, the childhood or the school-aged period, and find out what you can do to help and access age group specific resources to get you started. The other challenges children face during the COVID-19 pandemic relate to changes in their routines, like having to physically distance from family, friends, and worship community. In addition to other everyday steps to prevent COVID-19, physical or social distancing is one of the best tools we have to avoid being exposed to this virus and to slow its spread. However, it can be hard for children. It is important for adults to support children in taking time to check in with friends and family to see how they are doing. Breaks in continuity of learning. Examples are virtual learning environments, technology access, and connectivity issues. Participating in school from home is one way to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Online platforms and learning communities have become essential as children and their families turn to digital solutions more than ever to support children's learning. Unfortunately, the immediate need to have virtual school and learning revealed inequity in resources, access, and connectivity across students and communities. It is important for parents to reach out to teachers, school administrators to discuss the challenges your family may face supporting virtual learning and to discuss options that may be available through the school. Break in continuity of health. Examples are missed well child and immunization visits, limited access to mental, speech, and occupational health services. Parents may have avoided seeking health care due to stay-at-home orders and may continue to do so because they are afraid of getting sick with COVID-19. This includes important well child visits, immunizations, and oral health care. Additionally, school closures have impacted many children's ability to receive mental health and speech therapy services. It is important to ensure children receive continuity of health care when it becomes available. Missed significant life events. Examples are grief of missing celebrations, vacation plans, and milestone life events. Birthdays, graduations, shows, vacations, and even funerals are just a sample of the many significant life events that children may have missed experiencing during COVID-19. Social isolation and physical distancing affected the ability of friends and family to come together in person to celebrate or grieve in typical ways. Grief is a normal response to losing someone or something important to you. It is important to help children understand that hosting gatherings during COVID-19 could be dangerous to those who would want to participate. Family and friends can help them find alternate ways to connect and support each other at a distance. Lost security and safety. Examples are housing and food insecurity, increased exposure to violence and online harms, threat of physical illness, and uncertainty for the future. The household income of many families with children was affected due to job loss and lost wages. Economic insecurity is consistently linked to children's adverse development, academic achievement, and health outcomes. It may affect their ability to consistently access healthy food, safe transportation, and housing. Some children may have been increasingly exposed to child abuse and neglect, online harms, and domestic violence. It is important for parents and caregivers to maintain a trustworthy relationship and open communication with children, watching for behavioral changes that may signal distress. So what can you do? Here are some steps to help provide stability and support to children. It is very important to remember that children look to adults for guidance on how to react to stressful situations. This is also a very good opportunity for adults to model for children problem solving, flexibility, and compassion as we work through adjusting daily schedules, balancing work and activities, getting creative about how we spend time, processing new information, connecting with family and friends in new ways. Stay calm, listen, and offer assurance. Be a role model. Children will react to and follow your reactions. They learn from your example. Be aware of how you talk about COVID-19. Your discussion about COVID-19 can increase or decrease your child's fear. Respond to your thoughts and respond to their thoughts and feelings with truth and reassurance. Explain social distancing. Demonstrate deep breathing. Deep breathing is a valuable tool for calming the nervous system. Do breathing exercises with your children. Focus on the positive. Celebrate having more time to spend as a family. Make it as fun as possible. Do and organize family projects. Establish and maintain a daily routine. Keeping a regular schedule provides a sense of control, predictability, calm, and well-being. It also helps children and other family members respect others' need for quiet or uninterrupted time, and when they can connect with friends virtually. Identify projects that help others. This could include writing letters to the neighbors or others who might be stuck at home alone, or to healthcare workers, or reading a favorite children's book on a social media platform for younger children to hear, and offer lots of love and affection. Monitor television viewing and social media. Parents and guardians should monitor television, internet, and social media viewing, both for themselves and for their children. Watching continual updates on COVID-19 may increase fear and anxiety. Developmentally inappropriate information or information designed for adults can also cause anxiety or confusion, particularly in young children. Dispel rumors and inaccurate information, provide alternatives, and engage your children in games or other exciting activities. Time to talk. Let your children's questions guide you. Answer their questions truthfully, but don't offer unnecessary details or facts. A sense of control will reduce their fears. Be honest and accurate. Correct misinformation. Children often imagine situations worse than reality. Therefore, offering developmentally appropriate facts can reduce fears. Explain simple safety steps. Stay up to date on the facts. Keep explanations age appropriate. For all children, encourage them to verbalize their thoughts and feelings. And it's very important for you to be a good listener. Stay connected to school. Locate learning resources. Schools' capacity to conduct virtual learning experiences will vary greatly, but most schools are providing lessons and learning activities for children to do. Know the symptoms of COVID-19. Model basic hygiene and healthy lifestyle practices. Practice daily good hygiene. Encourage your child to practice these simple steps to prevent spreading the virus. Wash your hands multiple times a day for 20 seconds. Compliment your children when they do it the right way. Foster a sense of control. Offering guidance on what your child or children can do to prevent infection offers them a greater sense of control, which reduces anxiety. Build the immune system. Encourage your child to eat a balanced diet, get enough sleep, and exercise regularly. This will help them develop a strong immune system to fight off illness. Be aware of your children's mental health. Most children will manage well with the support of parents and other family members. Some children, however, may have risk factors for more intense reactions. Parents and caregivers should contact a professional if children exhibit significant changes in their behavior. Parental Toolkit Creative Activities for School-Age Children. For the school-age group, part of the Parental Toolkit are creative activities to encourage COVID-19 prevention practices and socio-emotional well-being. Postcard reminders. These are some examples of postcard reminders. Parents can print, children can write a note and send to a loved one. Parents and children can also make their own out of index cards, and these resources may be useful for children 6 to 12 years old. These are some more postcard reminders. These are also activity books on learning about COVID-19 that are useful for this age group. These are the other exercises in the activity book, and some more exercise activities. Board games for children. Parents can play this board game with their kids to learn tips for a healthy school year. This resource may be useful for children ages 6 to 12 years old. Parents, caregivers, and other trusted adults can serve as sources of social connectedness. They can also help children and young people express the many different feelings and thoughts on their mind. Here are some quick ideas for how to get conversations started with children and youth about how they are feeling and what they are struggling with regarding COVID-19. You don't have to use these exact words. You know best how to speak with your child, adolescent, or youth. In addition, how we talk to children and youth varies depending on their age and developmental level. What worries you about COVID-19? Have you been feeling nervous about going back to school because of COVID-19? So these are some of the conversation starters that you may use that may be helpful for these children. Other creative activity ideas. It will be useful and helpful to get creative with these kids. Here are some few ideas on how to have fun while learning how to protect ourselves and others from COVID-19. These resources may be useful for children and adolescents. Do-it-yourself masks. Wearing a mask is a very important step that we can take to stop the spread of COVID-19. Make it a family project to create masks. Be creative and stylish. Do-it-yourself soap. Hand washing is an easy and effective way to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and other germs and keep kids and adults healthy. You can help your kids make their own soap. The hand washing song. Hand washing can become a lifelong healthy habit if you start teaching it at an early age. Teach kids the steps for proper hand washing and the key times to wash hands, such as after using the bathroom or before eating. You can make it more fun. You can make up your own hand washing song and sing it for 20 seconds to help teach the length of time to wash your hands. Now, dealing with the loss of a loved one is always painful and distressing. Losing someone during the coronavirus pandemic, whether to COVID-19 or to other causes, will bring additional challenges. Here, we look at how to help the child cope with the loss of a loved one. When a loved one dies, children feel and show their grief in different ways. How kids cope with the loss depends on things like their age, how close they felt to the person who died, and the support that they receive. Here are some things parents can do to help a child who has lost a loved one. When talking about death, use simple, clear words. To break the news that someone has died, approach your child in a caring way. Pause to give your child a moment to take in your words. Listen and comfort. Every child reacts differently to learning that a loved one has died. Some cry, some ask questions, others seem to not react at all. That's okay. Stay with your child to offer hugs and reassurance. Answer your child's questions or just be together for a few minutes. Put emotions into words. Encourage kids to say what they're thinking and feeling in the days, weeks, and months following the loss. Talk about your own feelings too. It helps kids be aware of and feel comfortable with theirs. Say things like, I know you're feeling very sad, and I am sad too. We both love Grandma so much, and she loved us too. Tell your child what to expect. If the death of a loved one means changes in your child's life, head off any worries or fears by explaining what will happen. For example, Aunt Sarah will pick you up from school like Grandma used to. Talk about funerals and rituals. Allow children to join in rituals like viewings, funerals, or memorial services. Tell your child ahead of time what will happen. For example, lots of people who loved Grandma will be there. We will sing, we will pray, and people will talk about Grandma's life. People might cry and hug each other, and they would offer and say, my condolences. You can stay near me and hold my hand if you want. Give your child a role. Having a small active role can help kids master an unfamiliar emotional situation, such as a funeral or memorial service. For example, you might invite your child to read a poetry piece, pick a song to be played, gather some photos to display, or make something. Let kids decide if they want to take part and how. Help your child remember the person. In the days and weeks ahead, encourage your child to draw pictures or write down favorite stories of their loved one. Don't avoid mentioning the person who died. Recalling and sharing happy memories help heal grief and activate positive feelings. Respond to emotions with comfort and reassurance. Ask about feelings and listen. Let your child know that it takes time to feel better after a loved one dies. Help your child feel better. Provide the comfort your child needs, but don't dwell on the sad feelings. After a few minutes of talking and listening, shift to an activity or topic that helps your child feel a little better. Play, make art together, cook, or go somewhere together. Give your child time to heal from the loss. Grief is a process that happens over time, and be sure to have ongoing conversations to see how your child is feeling and doing. Healing doesn't mean forgetting about the loved one. It means remembering the person with love and letting loving memories bring good feelings that support us as we go on to enjoy life. Be a sanctuary for your child. You are their sanctuary and you are their safe place. You are the person they can express how they feel and what they are thinking. Establish that expressing how they feel is okay. They may not be sad right away, and that's okay. They may be mad or confused. Whatever they feel, the important thing is to tell them that it is okay. Be with your child in their grief. Know that it's okay to grieve in front of them. Tell him why. It gives him a space for his grief as well. The best thing to do is to be with them in their grief. Stay with them, hold them, and don't let them feel alone in it. Share memories. Find ways as a family to remember your loved one. Perhaps it's planting a tree, having a special picture book all about grandma, or having a special day you remember them. Anything that connects your family and your loved one who has passed. Here are some children's books that are also helpful to explain death in concrete ways. This book explains death in simple and clear yet gentle terms. This book talks about the idea that death is a natural part of life and the kinds of feelings a child may have after they have lost someone they love. This is good for young children. This is a good book also for toddlers and other children alike. It explains death, loss, and coping in a simple and comforting way. Now, we would like to practice our faith and spirituality with our children in a meaningful way during this COVID-19 crisis. How can we discover new opportunities to do this? Our spiritual and faith-based practices are both individual and communal. Each of us needs to find what brings us meaning and be open to the fact that it might be something very different from what we have been doing before. There are also many resources online to participate in communal events, to meditate on your own or with others, to study and reflect on sacred texts with your children, or to listen to religious concerts or music. And this is a great time to explore it. A few suggestions are: limit the amount of time you explore. Choose wisely from the variety of resources and opportunities. Family can commit to a schedule of prayer and reflection with their children. Consider the time of day that is best for you and the amount of time you will commit to it. Will you do it alone, with others, or will you do both? If something of interest comes along, consider if you think it will be better than what you are already doing, or if it is worth your time to add it to your day. Reaching out to others is a faith-filled and spiritual practice. A phone or a virtual call to someone who may feel isolated, or tutoring or entertaining a younger sibling are some examples. Lockdown poetry from children across the world experiencing life during COVID-19. Since March 2020, the lives of billions of children have turned upside down due to the coronavirus pandemic. Today, children around the world are still out of school and experiencing the effects of remote learning, lockdown, and other new normals. To capture their experiences, Save the Children invited children from countries around the world to write short poetry pieces about life under lockdown, sharing their hopes, fears, and how the pandemic has changed their lives. Children from Italy, Mexico, United Kingdom, Nigeria, and Republic of Congo, their lockdown poetry pieces bring to life the experiences of children living through this pandemic. Despite their differences, their struggles are shared and they remained united in their hope for a brighter future. Here are some poetry works written by school-age children across the globe. It is so important that we listen to our children directly during these unprecedented times. We are not affected all equally, and children can be particularly vulnerable. Poetry can provide a different lens with which these children view the world as it is today. It highlights the healing power and ability of poetry for these children to reflect and to combat loneliness. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we can also say now that it is the perfect opportunity for school-age children and older children to utilize poetry because the benefits can be experienced even in solitude, which is why this is such a timely and pertinent issue today. For these children, poetry helps them feel more connected to themselves, to those around them, and to the external world as a whole. Poetry can also increase their self and interpersonal awareness, encourage the ownership of voicing your own ideas and emotions, and encourage their ability to reflect upon significant memories or current day situations. A study also shows that poetry has real emotional power and serve as a testament to all of us that we are never alone, that amongst these collective voices, we can find those that ring at the same frequency as ours. And poetry writing is a dynamic process where these children learn many new things about themselves that they did not previously think about. Writing poetry also allows them to strengthen an individual's sense of identity and voice. Poetry creates avenues for self-expression, healing, and in itself, a restorative process. In conclusion, life in the time of coronavirus is full of uncertainty for children, as this is how the world and the future is seen through the eyes of children in this time of pandemic, helping to create a sense of normalcy and creating a sense of order at home while navigating the new and temporary normal can very much help children through the pandemic. This will offer reassurance in a very uncertain time. These children need routines that are predictable yet flexible enough to meet their individual needs. And as they take care of these children, parents and caretakers should be sure to also take care of their own physical and mental health. These are my references. Thank you for your time in listening to the lecture.